Hey there, everyone. An Easy English Room podcast. A very warm welcome to all our listeners. I'm Henry, and I'm absolutely delighted to be sitting here in our London studio today, bringing you another episode designed to help you master the English language in a way that feels natural and, well, hopefully a bit of fun, too.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emma, and I honestly have to say that we are just thrilled to have you tuning in with us today. It's April 2026. The sun is finally starting to peek through the London clouds, and it just feels like the perfect day for a deep dive into some great conversation.
It really does, Emma. Whether you're currently sipping your very first cup of morning coffee, perhaps commuting on the underground, or just taking a relaxed evening stroll through the park, we truly appreciate you spending your time with us. So, Emma, before we get into the heart of things, let me ask you, and of course our listeners, a bit of a reflective question.
Ooh, I love a good question to start the show. Sure thing, Henry. What's on your mind?
Well, do you ever get that strange sensation that your entire week has just vanished into thin air in the blink of an eye?
Oh, goodness, all the time. Honestly, it's a constant struggle. One moment, I'm sitting down on a Friday night, finally ready to relax after a long week here in the city, and then poof, the next thing I know, it's already Sunday evening and I'm checking my calendar for Monday. It genuinely feels like someone has sneakily hit the fast forward button on my life.
Exactly. I think that is a feeling almost everyone listening can relate to. It's like the days just slip through your fingers. So, because of that, today we've decided to chat about how we actually spend our weekends. We want to explore ways to maybe find a bit more balance and make those 48 hours feel more fulfilling and less like a race.
That sounds like a brilliant topic. But hey, before we dive headfirst into the discussion, I just want to give our friends a quick and helpful reminder. As always, we've put together a completely free PDF for you. It contains all the key points, the main vocabulary, and the grammar structures from today's episode.
That's right. You'll find the link for that right in the description box below. It's the perfect resource if you want to follow along with us as we speak, or if you'd like to revisit our tips and language notes later on to really lock them into your memory.
Exactly. It's all about making your learning journey easier. So, Henry, let's get into it. Walk me through your typical Saturday morning. I know you're a bit of a morning person, aren't you?
Well, as you know, I am indeed a bit of an early bird. I'm usually up bright and early at 6 a.m. sharp. The very first thing I do is a quick, deep stretch to wake up my muscles, get the blood flowing. And then I head straight out the door for a jog around my neighborhood.
6 a.m.? Honestly, Henry, I don't know how you do it. But since you're out there every single weekend, you must surely know every single neighbor on your street by now.
To be honest, I pretty much do. It's quite a social way to start the day. For instance, there's Mr. Thompson. He's a lovely older gentleman who is always out watering his garden at exactly 6:30. He's incredibly sharp with his timing. And then, of course, there's Mrs. Lee, who is always out for a brisk walk with her dog, Muffin.
Muffin? Oh, that is just the most adorable name for a dog. What kind of dog is she?
She's a tiny little thing, but she's got a huge personality. Believe it or not, Muffin tries to race me every single time she sees me coming down the pavement. And I have to give you a bit of a spoiler alert here. She usually wins. She's much faster than she looks.
I can just picture that scene. A full-grown man being outrun by a dog named Muffin on a London street. Meanwhile, at that exact same time, I am definitely still tucked under my duvet, probably dreaming about flying over the Thames or something equally whimsical and imaginative. Speaking of those kinds of dreams, Henry, do you ever keep a dream journal?
I actually did try that once. I kept a notebook right by my bed. But the problem was that when I woke up in the morning and looked at my notes, I couldn't read a single word of my own handwriting. It just looked like scribbles.
That is such a classic problem. I think we've all been there. So after your luxurious sleep-in, once you finally decide to join the rest of the world, what happens next in your Saturday?
Well, once I finally roll out of bed, usually around 9 or maybe even 10 if I'm feeling particularly lazy, I like to treat myself to a big, hearty breakfast. Lately, I've been getting a bit creative and experimenting with something called pancake art.
Pancake art? Like you're actually making shapes and designs out of the batter? That sounds like a lot of effort for breakfast.
It's surprisingly fun. Yep, last week I actually managed to make a pancake that looked kind of like a unicorn. Or if I'm being completely honest, it might have actually looked more like a very confused llama. It's a work in progress, Emma.
Hey, impressive either way. I don't think I could even manage a circle. I usually just stick to my standard, reliable avocado toast. It's my go-to weekend meal.
You and your avocado toast. Honestly, Emma, don't you ever get bored or tired of eating the exact same thing every single Saturday?
Not really, because I find it so satisfying. But I will say I did decide to spice things up a bit last weekend. I was feeling quite adventurous, so I added a poached egg on top with a dash of chili flakes.
Wow, living on the edge, I see. You're really becoming a culinary rebel in your old age.
Hey, for me, that is considered a very wild morning. But in all seriousness, I find that having a bit of a routine like that really helps me feel grounded and ready to face whatever the week throws at me.
I totally get that. I can see why that's helpful. For me, though, I think variety is what keeps things interesting. Sometimes I'll just decide on a whim, no planning at all, to jump in the car and drive out of the city and into the countryside.
Really? Just like that? You don't even check the map or pick a destination beforehand?
Nope. One time I did that and ended up at this absolutely charming little farmer's market in a tiny village. They had the best homemade raspberry jam I have ever tasted in my entire life. It was a total accidental discovery.
That sounds absolutely delightful. It makes me think that maybe I should try to be a bit more spontaneous and less of a planner.
Maybe, or on the other hand, maybe we just balance each other out. You keep things organized and I'll keep things unpredictable.
True, I like that dynamic. So, after you've had your breakfast and your spontaneous road trips, what's next on your agenda?
Well, if the London weather is actually being nice, which, let's be honest, is a bit of a rarity, I might grab a new book and head over to the local park. There's this massive, ancient oak tree there that is just perfect for sitting and reading under.
That sounds incredibly peaceful. My Saturday afternoons are usually a bit more, well, productive. I usually tackle all the chores I've ignored during the week, the laundry, deep cleaning the kitchen, that sort of thing.
Ah, look at you, the productive citizen. But Emma, honestly, do you ever actually take a real break and just do nothing for a while?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. Actually, last weekend, I decided to step out of my bubble and try something completely different. I signed up for a pottery class.
No way. I can't imagine you at a pottery wheel. How did that go? Did you make something beautiful?
Let's just say I have a massive newfound respect for ceramic artists. My first attempt at a bowl looked significantly more like a very lopsided, squashed hat. It was a bit of a disaster, visually speaking.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. You can just call it abstract art. It's all about the interpretation. But did you actually enjoy the experience?
Surprisingly, yes, I really did. It was so incredibly relaxing to just get my hands dirty with the clay and focus entirely on creating something from scratch. It was a great way to quiet my mind.
See, that's exactly what I mean. Stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something new can be so rewarding and refreshing.
You're absolutely right, Henry. In fact, I enjoyed it so much that I might actually make pottery a regular hobby of mine.
That's awesome. I've been wanting to pick up a new hobby myself lately. I feel like I need something active.
Like what? What has piqued your interest?
I've been thinking about joining a dance class. Maybe something with a lot of energy, like salsa or even a hip-hop class.
That sounds like so much fun. However, I personally have two left feet, so I think dancing is probably something I should avoid for the sake of everyone else in the room.
Oh, come on now. I truly believe that every single person can dance. It's not about having perfect technique. It's just about feeling the music and letting go.
Well, if you say so, I might take your word for it. Maybe after you've mastered a few routines, you can teach me some moves in the studio.
Challenge accepted. I'll hold you to that. This really reminds me of how vital it is to keep trying new things and to keep growing, no matter how old we get.
Absolutely. I think having hobbies can really enrich our lives and, more importantly, help us reduce stress from our daily jobs. And speaking of enriching experiences, we can't forget that spending quality time with family and friends is just so incredibly important too. How do you usually stay connected with your circle on the weekends, Henry?
That's a great question. For me, family and friends are right at the top of my priority list. On weekends, I often try to organize small get-togethers. For example, just last Saturday, I hosted a big game night at my flat.
Oh, I love a good game night. What games did you end up playing?
We started off with some of the classic board games like Monopoly and Clue. You know, the ones that always cause a bit of an argument. But things got really intense and competitive once we switched over to charades. Let's just say that my acting skills are, well, they leave a lot to be desired.
I can only imagine. I am actually terrible at charades too. I usually end up laughing so hard at everyone else that I can't even act out my own clue.
Same here. But honestly, that is the best part of the whole night, right? It's all about the laughter and making those memorable moments that you'll talk about for weeks.
Absolutely. I really believe those kinds of shared experiences are what truly strengthen our relationships.
I couldn't agree with you more. Do you have any favorite weekend activities or traditions that you do with your own family or friends?
Well, my family has always loved the idea of cooking together on Sundays. We have this long-standing tradition where every single person is responsible for contributing a dish to a big family dinner.
That sounds like such a wonderful way to bond. Does anyone have a signature dish that they're famous for?
My mom makes an absolutely incredible lasagna. It's the highlight of the week. As for me, I usually handle the dessert. Although I have to confess, last week I was feeling very ambitious and I attempted to make a chocolate lava cake.
Ooh, fancy. Those are famously difficult to get right. How did it actually turn out in the end?
Well, let's just say we ended up having plain vanilla ice cream for dessert instead. When we cut into the cake, the center was more like a solid, hard rock than a warm, molten lava flow. It was a total baking fail.
Oh no. Well, hey, it's the effort and the time spent together that really counts, right? Plus, let's be honest, ice cream is always a fantastic backup plan.
So true. We all had a good laugh about it, and we had a great time regardless of the cake disaster. It didn't ruin the evening at all.
You know, hearing you talk about that really makes me think I should suggest a family cooking night to my own parents. It seems like such a perfect way to bond and just catch up.
You definitely should. Even if the meal itself isn't perfect, it's really just about the quality time you spend together in the kitchen.
Exactly. Sometimes I feel like our lives in London are so constantly busy and fast-paced that we actually forget to just slow down and enjoy each other's company without any distractions.
That is so true. That's exactly why I've been making a conscious effort to unplug from technology and be fully present whenever I'm with my loved ones.
That is such a good practice. I have to admit, I'm often guilty of checking my phone and my work emails way too often, even during dinner.
Well, aren't we all a bit guilty of that these days? Maybe we can both make a pact right now to try and minimize our screen time during social gatherings from now on.
Deal, I'm in. And speaking of socializing, do you ever host movie nights at your place?
Yes, I do. In fact, I'm actually in the middle of planning one for this coming weekend. I'm thinking of doing a themed night, maybe focusing on 80s movie classics.
Oh, nice choice. I'll be sure to bring the popcorn, provided that I'm actually on the guest list, of course.
Of course you're invited, Henry. The more people we have, the merrier the night will be.
Awesome. In that case, I'll start dusting off my old leg warmers and my neon headband right away.
Now that is what I call true commitment to a theme. It's going to be a total blast. You know, these kinds of social activities really help to recharge my batteries, which actually brings me to another important topic, self-care.
Ah, yes. Self-care. It's such a vital thing for our mental health. What is your current go-to self-care routine when you really need to relax?
Lately, I've been really getting into the practice of mindfulness meditation. Even just taking 10 minutes every morning to sit quietly and focus on my breathing really helps to clear my mind and reduce my anxiety.
That's wonderful. I've heard so many good things about meditation, but I haven't quite managed to make it a habit yet. I think I might have to finally give it another shot.
You really should. It's surprisingly effective for such a short activity. What about you, Henry? How do you practice self-care?
For me, it's all about a bit of pampering. I love taking incredibly long, hot baths with calming essential oils. And more recently, I've discovered the joy of using those fancy, colorful bath bombs.
Bath bombs. I've seen those in shop windows all over the city, but I've actually never tried using one myself.
Oh, Emma, you're missing out. They turn the bathwater into these amazing colors and they smell absolutely incredible. It honestly feels like taking a tiny mini vacation without ever having to leave your flat.
That does sound wonderfully relaxing. I think I'll make a point of picking one up the next time I'm at the shops as a little treat for myself.
Definitely do it. But remember, self-care isn't just about the physical stuff like baths. I also try to do a bit of journaling every night to help me process my thoughts and feelings from the day.
That's a really smart idea. Sometimes just getting your thoughts down on a piece of paper can be incredibly therapeutic and help you see things more clearly.
It really is. It gives me a chance to reflect on the past week and set some clear intentions for the busy days ahead. And speaking of the days ahead, how do you usually go about planning for the upcoming week?
Well, I always try to carve out some time on Sunday evenings to sit down with my digital schedule. I'll jot down any big meetings, deadlines, or social events I have coming up so nothing catches me by surprise.
That's a very organized way to do it. I do something quite similar, actually, though I tend to use a specialized planner app on my phone to keep track of my tasks and set reminders.
Oh, I see. Personally, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I still much prefer using good old pen and paper. There is just something so deeply satisfying about the physical act of crossing a task off a list once it's finished.
I can certainly understand that feeling. Maybe I should consider switching back to a paper planner for a while to see if I like it better.
You should give it a try. It might just change your life and make your Mondays feel a bit more manageable.
We'll see about that. By the way, do you do any meal prepping for the week ahead, or are you more of a cook-as-you-go person?
I've definitely tried to be a meal prepper. I really have. But the problem is that I usually end up eating all the prepped food by about Tuesday afternoon because I'm so hungry.
I am exactly the same. I have absolutely no self-control when it comes to having delicious snacks or pre-made meals just sitting there in the fridge.
Well, at least I know I'm not alone in that struggle. Maybe we both just need to find some better strategies for the future.
Agreed. Perhaps prepping just a couple of days at a time, like on Sunday and then again on Wednesday, might work better and keep the food fresher too.
That's a brilliant idea. It feels much less overwhelming, and there's less temptation to eat everything in one go.
Exactly. So, looking ahead, do you have any big or exciting plans for this coming weekend?
Actually, yes. I'm thinking of organizing a small, cozy picnic with some friends at the park, provided the weather stays nice.
That sounds absolutely lovely. If there's an extra spot on the picnic blanket, I'd love to join you.
There is always room for you, Henry. I'm planning to make some homemade sandwiches, and I might even be brave enough to try baking those cookies again. My fingers are crossed that they turn out better than the lava cake did.
Hey now, don't jinx it. But yes, let's certainly hope for the best. I'm sure they'll be delicious. As for me, I'm actually planning to travel across the city to visit my grandparents next weekend.
That's wonderful to hear. Spending time with family is so precious, especially with grandparents.
It truly is. Plus, my grandma has finally promised to teach me her top secret world-famous apple pie recipe.
Ooh, an apple pie recipe? That sounds like a real family heirloom in the making.
It definitely is. I'm so excited to finally learn it, and hopefully I can surprise everyone with a perfect pie at our next big gathering.
Well, you'll definitely have to bring a sample of that pie to our picnic if the lesson goes well.
I would be absolutely happy to do that.
Great! It seems like we both have some really lovely and relaxing plans to look forward to.
We certainly do. It's always nice to have something positive on the horizon to keep you motivated during the week.
Absolutely. Well, Henry, this has been an absolutely fantastic chat today. I really enjoyed it.
It really has been a pleasure. I always find our weekend conversations to be so much fun, and they usually give me some great insights into how I can improve my own routine.
I feel the exact same way. Now, before we officially wrap things up for today, we are very excited to introduce our resident language expert, Lara. She's going to help us break down some of the key vocabulary and idiomatic phrases we used during our discussion.
Definitely stick around for that.
It's one of the most helpful parts of the show for our learners. So without further ado, let's hear from Lara.
Hello there, Henry and Emma, and a very warm hello to all of our listeners joining us from all over the world. Thank you so much for having me back on the show today. I'm Laura, and my goal is to help you navigate and understand some of the more colorful and useful expressions we heard in today's conversation. Let's get started. First, we heard the phrase, "in the blink of an eye." This is a very common idiom used to describe something that happened incredibly quickly, almost instantaneously, just as fast as you can blink your eyes. For example, the entire weekend was over in the blink of an eye. Next, our hosts mentioned wanting to hit the fast forward button. This is a metaphorical way of saying you want to speed up a process or skip past a part of something that feels slow or boring. Imagine having a remote control for your life. An example would be, during the long lecture, I really wished I could just hit the fast forward button. Emma asked Henry to walk me through his Saturday morning. When you ask someone to do this, you want them to explain a process or a routine to you in a very detailed, step-by-step manner. For instance, can you walk me through how to set up this new camera? We also used the adjective whimsical. This is a lovely word used to describe something that is playful, imaginative, or slightly unusual in a charming way. You might hear it like this. The children's book was filled with whimsical illustrations of talking animals. Another great phrase was on a whim. This means you did something spontaneously, without any prior planning or deep thought. For example, we decided to drive to the seaside on a whim after breakfast. Henry joked that Emma was living on the edge by adding an egg to her toast. This idiom is usually used to describe someone who takes risks or acts in an adventurous, sometimes dangerous way. You could say, by skydiving every weekend, he is truly living on the edge. Emma mentioned having 2 left feet. This is a humorous and self-deprecating way to say someone is a very clumsy dancer. For example, I'd love to join the salsa class, but unfortunately, I have 2 left feet. We also talked about pampering. To pamper yourself means to indulge in a lot of comfort, luxury, and extra attention. An example is, after her exams were over, she spent the whole day pampering herself at a spa. Then we heard the word unplug. In a modern context, it means to disconnect from all your electronic devices, like your phone, tablet, and computer, in order to relax and focus on the real world. For instance, they decided to unplug for the weekend and go camping in the woods. Finally, we used the phrase pique interest. This means to suddenly arouse someone's curiosity or grab their attention. For example, the trailer for the new sci-fi movie really piqued my interest. I truly hope these explanations and examples help you feel more confident using these phrases in your own English conversations. Remember, expanding your vocabulary is one of the very best ways to boost your overall fluency and confidence. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you all next time.
Wow, that was incredibly helpful, as always. Thank you so much for that breakdown, Lara. You always make the tricky parts of English so much easier to grasp.
Absolutely. We always appreciate Lara's insights. And to all of our listeners, please don't forget to go and download that free PDF we mentioned earlier.
Exactly. It contains a full summary of everything we talked about, including all those great idioms Lara just explained. You can find the link right in the description below. It's a fantastic tool for making the most of your learning time.
Before we sign off, we would honestly love to hear from you. How do you choose to spend your quality time on the weekends? And what are your personal go-to self-care rituals?
Please do share your own stories and tips with us in the comments. Hearing about your different lives is what makes this community so special. Well, I suppose it's time for us to wrap things up for today.
I'm afraid so. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today, Henry, and of course with all of you at home.
It really has. Until our next episode, everyone, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep leaping towards your English language goals.
Bye for now, everyone. Your progress doesn't have to stop here. To continue advancing your skills, feel free to click on the next video or explore some of the other episodes we've picked out just for you.